So that was a type of short film where there were no, talking. It was all non-diegetic sound. And I'd like to ask you a quick questions on this type of video. Could you easily see what the theme and issues of the film were, Curtis?
Yeah, I could really. With the themes and issue, the themes was pretty much violence and drugs, and and relationships falling apart really. Because when he took the drugs, and the girlfriend found her, he became very violent.
And what about you, Mason?
I agree with Curtis. Drugs and like domestic violence, I would say, but also alcohol. Because at the start, it fades. It feels like you're in a hangover, and you saw the pictures, you saw the screen bits of like the alcohol, like the bottles on the table. So yeah, I think that's basically what I think.
Right, and Kane?
I agree with them. Yeah. The main theme would be obviously young people partying and the issues that come with that, the drug abuse, the domestic violence and the alcohol. Yeah.
Alright, good. So, is the fact that it's completely non-diegetic, so no natural sounds, add to it in any way, and how so? Mason?
Non-diegetic, how? I would say, I don't really, non-diegetic, I think it adds effect onto the video. I think, because every time, at the start it was moving forward, and there's no sound, it's just them having a laugh, so I think it proves that something bad's going to happen, because at the start, it was him and his girlfriend at the start, so it's all happy, but you could tell by the music something bad's going to happen, and obviously she saw him with having drugs, and then it got to the point where the music popped up a bit where he slapped her, and that's when it dropped, and that's where it basically stopped.
Right, Kane?
I think for this type of short film, only a few minutes long, it works quite well, as it's meant to be quite powerful, showing you what it is, without any of the real sounds of what's happening, disturbing this. But for anything longer, you wouldn't want to sit there for half an hour listening to just non-diegetic sounds.
And finally, Curtis?
Yeah, like Ken said, it was pretty powerful for just a very, very short clip with what they did, and with the diegetic sounds, pretty much liked how the atmosphere just became really violent when he got caught in that room. Just the music really got really, really tense. I really like how they did that.
So, did the issues in the film seem realistic, and do you think they could happen to just about anyone? Curtis?
Yeah, I agree on that, actually. I think it could pretty much happen to everyone. To do with the influence of drugs as well, pretty much that's what I believe did that to him, because he was so influenced by the drugs and addicted to it, that he would just want that to take it from him. He just became very violent, and yeah, I think that's pretty real as well, because things can happen like that, and especially in parties, because especially with young people, there's always going to be drugs involved.
Kane?
Yeah, growing on what Curtis said, with nowadays youth, drugs and alcohol is a lot more easier to come by, and obviously side effects of taking these, you can become angry and violent towards other people. So this short film, it did feel realistic, this could happen in today's world, yeah.
And Mason?
I agree with both of them. It's an influence and how it's realistic it can happen in real life. But also, I think obviously I think it proves that he was drunk and he took the drugs. So obviously people young teenagers, I would say that when they have alcohol, they can't really control it, and they might do stupid things as in the video, take drugs. So yeah, I think that's a very realistic thing.
So was any part of the camera work that seemed to pique your interest? And why would it have piqued your interest? Kane?
The camera, I quite like how it follows through the house and the party on all the side characters partying, taking alcohol, and eventually comes through onto what I assume to be the two main characters. Yeah, that really helped it, piqued my interest.
Mason?
Yeah, well, I like, because it's not just one shot, but I like the ones where the woman was going into the bathroom, because the sound when the sound picks up, well, sorry, when the sound's all like smooth, it goes in slow motion. But as the sound picks up, the camera shots it speeds up. So I think that's probably my favourite shot in the whole video because it actually affects the sound and the shots at the same time. So that's what I liked about it.
And finally, Curtis.
They were really good shots within like 1 minute and 50 seconds, especially the shot with the close-up. When the girl, when she just woke up, you could just tell she said something was wrong with that close-up of her emotion. And as well, in the bathroom scene with the close-up of the man and the woman as well. Really good.
Now, did the characters seem believable? I mean, do you think that you would react the same way if you're in their shoes? And does this add to the overall mood of the film, Mason?
So like, if I was the man or whatever, so if I took drugs and like in the party, if it was my girlfriend or whatever, I wouldn't. Even if I took drugs, I wouldn't slap the girl. I wouldn't slap her. I wouldn't like that. Obviously, I don't exactly know that because I haven't taken drugs before. Because you never know what will happen. So, but I don't know exactly. I don't think I would though.
Curtis?
If I was like in a situation like that, again like Mason, I would never do anything like that. In fact, I wouldn't even take those sort of drugs whatsoever, really. And yeah.
And finally, Kane.
I would say, yeah, the characters you can tell are realistic. Like you can see them and you can be like, oh, there are people that I know that they would react in that way. But like Mason said, you can't put yourself in that situation because no person's going to react exactly the same as what they've shown. But what they did show is what could happen and the worst of what taking drugs and alcohol could do to you.
So, did anyone in the film seem to make any progress, and do you think they even got remotely close to a happy ending, and how do you think they could have handled the situation better? Curtis?
I don't think it really was a happy ending. I think it completely fell apart in the end, especially with him like going down, looking depressed and faded to black. He knew he's like really mucked it up, and he could have avoided it by just accepting like he shouldn't have taken it. He loves his girlfriend and he should do it for her, but no, he just chose to have the drugs and shows how much addicted he was to it. And yeah, it was a really happy ending.
Kane?
Yeah, what Curtis was saying, yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of like it's taking a standard story and like flipping it over. It starts quite happy and joyful. You see all these people having fun, and then it goes downhill. Instead of ending happily, it ends in disaster with the main character regretting what he just did to the woman.
And finally, Mason?
I agree with both. It's like a complete opposite of a good ending. It's good at the start, and eventually keeps getting bad and bad and bad and bad, until eventually it gets to the part where they both break up. It's completely bad, and the part where it's drugs, like he takes drugs. So, good. It gets at the start it gets good. Eventually, in the mid it gets really bad, and then at the very end it's ridiculous. It's really really bad. So I think it's the complete opposite.
Okay. Now, did the pace of the film fit the mood? I mean, was it too fast, and how did it affect the overall realism? Kane?
I think the pacing wasn't like steady, it wasn't just all one speed, it would like change at certain points. I don't think it really affected the mood in a bad way. It definitely helped what they were trying to achieve through the messages that they were trying to convey there. Yeah.
Mason?
Yeah, as I said earlier, I like that when the shots get slow, the sound's all smooth, it's like slow. And then eventually when the shots pick up pace, like sort of fast motion, eventually the sound gets really fast. So I think it affects the sound, but in a good way, not a very bad way.
And Curtis?
I feel like the pace of shots really fitted in well with the setting, with the party and everything. As well, like with it moving slow, could convey like the conditions of like the people, like they've taken drugs, and with the intent scene as well. That was pretty fast paced in one way when he slapped her as well. So,
Now, how was the saying able to portray the female characters, and why do you think it was done like that? Curtis?
I think they pretty much did it well with the themes and characters. Like, they linked it really well with themes such as drugs and abuse with teenagers, because that's pretty much the best thing to do, really, because with teenagers they've obviously got drugs and abuse. So,
Right, Mason?
I agree with Curtis. It's like, you know, it's the drugs, and usually young people do it because they, as I said earlier as well, they could have alcohol, and they're not adults and they're not used to it. They could just do really stupid stuff like drugs. And also, I like how it's at a party because obviously they're teenagers. You know, nearly every teenager goes out and have parties with their friends and that. So, yeah.
And Kane?
Yeah, the setting of it being in a house party, it definitely works well with the theme of the drugs and the alcohol, because obviously you're not going to have a bunch of people outside on a council estate just partying. It wouldn't work with what they're trying to do, so I definitely think they picked the best setting for the house party.
And final question, what do you think the moral of the story was, and do you think it was portrayed well? Mason?
I think the story, well, it's in a party, it's set into a party, so I think it's about, you know, just having a house party, all friends, maybe they're celebrating, or maybe it's just a random house party, and I think maybe the boy, he was with his girlfriend, but maybe he probably drunk too much, or maybe something happened to their relationship, you never know, because it's non-digestic. So then, as I was saying, eventually he does something stupid, he takes drugs, and eventually gets to the point where he just slaps his girlfriend, and then it just breaks up.
Kane?
The morals, I would definitely say, is the side effects of drug abuse and underage drinking, how they can affect you. Like, I believe that's what the message of this was, like, if you're gonna take drugs and drink underage, this is what could happen to you.
Right. And Curtis, finish us off.
yeah, and the storyline was pretty good, setting the party and with the drugs and with the morals. What I liked was it showed how much the character was influenced by the drugs, that he chose drugs over his love and relationship over the girl. So.
Thank you for your time and good answers.